state-of-the-art. Hopefully they will be able to demonstrate it on the presentation. And they're just coming back from California, where they represent UT Tyler at the National Academy of Engineering. We're very proud of the team. Team from Everybody's ready to start? Yep. Go ahead.
Good morning, all. We're at Team FAMSOL, and the name of our product is Medis. My name is Oluwatoyin. This is Mikhail Daspek-Ronde, Derek, and Abtamo. We're a group of mechanical and electrical engineering students who came together to design and build this system. So we're going to go over project objective, our background information, the market competencies that are available right now, our design evolution, the system design, our economic feasibility, the future modifications we have our system, and we're going to go ahead and show a prototype demo, and then we're going to go over our conclusions. So what is Medis? Medis is an automatic dispensing system that dispenses specified numbers of pills accurately. The goal of our product is to design and build a system that will eliminate human error and save time in the pharmacy dispensing cycle. So the pharmaceutical industry is huge, and as you can see, there are 4 billion prescriptions filled per year on average. And this pharmaceutical industry is facing a huge problem and shortage of pharmacy technicians. And this shortage causes the current staffs to work overtime. And this causes stress to these pharmacy technicians whose only method of dispensing this medication is hand counting. And this can cause some common human errors in counting. So this is the typical dispensing cycle for a retail pharmacy. And our goal for the goal of our product is to increase the accuracy by eliminating the hand counting process here. And yes, we have competitors out there that do the same, that have products that does the same thing that ours do. And 2 of our major competitors are up there. Well, our products differ in the sense of its versatility and its durability, and its modularity. For example, if you're looking for to get a dispenser system for 10 different kinds of pills, these competitors, you can't get it with these competitors. But our products, we design it to meet our customer-specific needs. I'm going to pass it over to Mikhail to go over the design evolution.
Good morning. I'll be talking about the design evolution. The first set of issues that we were faced with is how do we get the pills out of the container where they're stored in and without damaging them and causing a jam. So we decided to design a wheel system that would move the pills at the bottom of the container, force them into a slot at the bottom of it, and that way that they can be dispensed. Here's our first prototype on the right, where we modified a store-bought container and attached our wheel design to the bottom of it to get it working. Here's a short video demonstrating how our first prototype worked. As you can see, the pills would be rotating with the wheel and forced into the slot, coming down into this little container at the bottom. And here's our second prototype. Another issue that we faced with our first prototype was that the pills were falling too fast and together too quickly for the infrared sensor that we were going to be using for it to count accurately. So therefore, we designed a separate mechanism that would collect the pills that were dispensed and move them around to the infrared sensor so that it would be counted more accurately. And here we also modified the wheel to test it out and see if we have better luck with the jamming issues. And as you can see here, it's dispensing the pills and moving them around to the top right corner of the bottom mechanism where the infrared sensor would be placed at. We were still having issues with the wheel, so we had to make further modifications. So here we have our final prototype, as you can see here and up there. One of our initial goals was to have a circular or polygon shape where all the containers with the pills would be collected around, and they would individually drop the pills into the center of a unit where they could be easily dispensed into the prescription bottles. So here on your left, we have the whole unit, which houses 5 different kinds of pills and all the electrical equipment, and these are stackable, so you can add more on top of each other. our limit is about 6 right now, which we tested. And on your right, we have the individual containers, which houses the stepper motor and the infrared sensor and the wheel that was redesigned so that the pills will no longer cause a jam. Here's a short video demonstrating how the wheel works. And this is just the base without the container itself. As you can see, and I have another video to show you a top view of this process. Here's a top view, and you can see how the pills fall into the slots as the wheel is rotating and is dispensed through the exit hole that is at the bottom of the base. And I'll pass it over to Ben.
Thank you, Miguel. My name is Pegwaneni Kiema, and I'm happy to present you the system design of MEDIS 1819. As for any electrical system, we need a system specification. From the in our case, we need not only we need to count accurately pills, but also we need to dispense different size and shape of pills. From there, we have an initial system requirement. We come up with the hardware and software for this system. From there, we rapidly built our first prototype and gather some data, and finally come up with another system requirement. From there, we integrate the software and hardware part of it, then integrate the whole system. Okay, now let me take you through the hardware system. We come up with great challenges, and we have some questions to answer. What kind of processing power do we need? What type of actuator and sensors do we need? Is there a security concern? And yes, we have some answers for that. We are using a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus for processing power, and we using a stepper motor for its precision. We also using an infrared sensor which output a digital signal. For security concern, we choose to go with the ZIMK 4i hardware security module for Raspberry Pi. Now, let me take you through the software part of MEDIS 1819. We come up with some challenges too, where we have questions to answer, and such as what kind of programming language do we need to use? What kind of graphical user interface? Is there a security concern? And yes, we have provided answers to those questions. We choose to go with Python as a programming language, TK GUI toolkit for graphical user interface, and our ZIMK4i hardware security module for Raspberry Pi come out handy. Now, for the software part, we built our GUI that has a login that takes you to a main menu. From the main menu, you can either choose to do inventory or go to fill up prescription. To fill up prescription, you have a drop-down menu where you choose your type of pill. Then enter the quantity and hit dispense. And this is the system specification for our system. And this is our journey, take us from here to this final prototype. And now I'll pass it to Derek for the mechanical design.
Thank you. So in regards to material selection, a polymer was always considered and was the route that we always intended to pursue. In order to make the device itself suitable for medical use, we had to observe the FDA regulations, and they have an approved list for thermoplastics that we could use. Polypropylene was one of these polymers that caught our attention as it is able to resist low concentrated acids, bases, and other organic chemicals such as chlorine effectively, thereby not damaging or compromising the material itself. Now, acid resistance was not a primary goal or concern for the MedDish unit. However, we felt it was important to observe the environment in which the unit itself would be located in and that it could be exposed to some of those chemicals. With regards to the FDA analysis, we felt that the primary concern of failure would be when additional units themselves are placed upon the base unit here. Because MedDish itself is a modular stackable system that the client can, or the customer can use to meet their needs if they want to expand their dispensing ability or capability. We decided to simulate a load that was equivalent to roughly 7 or 8 med dish units, additional units stacked on top of the base unit to ensure that the internal structure itself would not be compromised and we had an adequate factor of safety, thereby ensuring the safety of the unit as well as our customers as well. With regards to the cost of the prototype, our prototype cost had an estimated of about $165,000. We decided to go with injection molding as far as manufacturing is concerned due to the high volume that we could produce in a short amount of time. Of course, there's the high additional cost. But the cost for producing 1,000 units equated to roughly $600,000, which brought our total cost per unit down to $600. Now I'd like to pass it over to Hob to go ahead and go over the future applications.
Right. Thank you, Derek. With multiple tests and iterations, we were able to identify some shortcomings on our Medix 1819 final product to make it market competitive with other products, similar products in the market. So we propose some future modifications that need to be done to achieve that goal. The first one is installing a rotating base or conveyor belt system to feed prescription barrels. Second one is having aromatic labeling system. And the current prototype works only for pills, so we're planning to add a dispenser mechanism for liquids and creams in the future. And improve cross-contamination prevention system, because with the current design we have, all the pills from all compartments will flow through the same tube, so there might be a possibility of cross-contamination, so we should address that in the future. Increasing the sensor accuracy, and we're planning also to have a mechanism to detect if there is a broken or undersized pills. And as Derek discussed, we're planning to expand on the number of dispensing units we can have in one system. And the wheel system we have right now is we have 3 different sizes of wheels to fit small pill size, medium pill size, and large pill size. In the future, we'll try to design one wheel, adjustable wheel, which fits for, we can be adjusted for different sizes of pills, that we wouldn't have to take off and replace wheel every time we dispense. And in conclusion, Medix 1819 is a combination of mechanical, software, and hardware design, which is intended to reduce human errors during counting and expedite the process. With multiple iterations and tests, we were able to surpass our initial goal of counting 200 pills per minute. And I'll show you a quick video here. Just for you to show you how the system, the final prototype works. We're trying to dispense 5 amoxicillin, so 5 dispense. And it dispense the right amount of pills. So with that, I'll conclude our presentation, and then if you have any questions, please.
During your trials, did you ever have any errors where you dispensed one more pill than you should have, or one less pill than you should have?
We have.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And that is why we're trying to improve in the future to got better accuracy. So yes, we did.
So have you almost reached steady state?
We're trying to come up with the percentages, like how much we're accurate. Now we're between 75 to 80% accurate, so that's why on future modification we put us improving our sensor accuracy. That way we can reach the 99% to 100% accuracy.
Is it possible for your machine to get jammed? And if it would happen, how would that get fixed?
Well, at the moment, we haven't experienced any jamming with the newest prototype. As I did mention before, with our previous ones, we were having issues with jamming. But pretty much all of the test runs that we've experienced with the newest one, we have not.
And to expand on that, we tried to simulate jams. Unfortunately, we were unable to reproduce the same type of jams that we had experienced with the earlier prototypes.
First of all, congratulations. Wonderful presentation.
essentially changing human error for machine error.
That's a good answer. Hopefully that is, machine error is less than human error.
Yeah.
That's sometimes the way to see it.
I guess to expand on what you're asking, if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying, what's the difference between how the process is done now versus how this could potentially change things? Is that what you're asking? There was an article by U.S. News where they actually researched the amount of errors that occurred within a pharmacy, and they concluded that roughly an average of 25 prescriptions are filled every hour in a single pharmacy in the country, and of those, 1 to 5% contain some type of error. So they said in perspective, 2 to 19 prescriptions filled daily contain or are filled incorrectly. I forget the body that does the reporting for incorrect medications or like malpractice. I forget the name, I'm sorry, but there was a case or a report that was reported where a lady who was prescribed Xanax for anxiety by her doctor, she went to pick up her medication. She's been on this medication for months, but she noticed it looked a little different. Didn't think too much of it, thought maybe they just changed the design or something like that. She took 2 pills. She said, I felt fine, but my anxiety wasn't going away. She called her doctor. Her doctor told her to take 3 more. She did, and then after about an hour, she said she started feeling really jittery, shaking, her heart was racing. So she called the pharmacist to figure out what's going on. The pharmacist asked her to describe the medication that you have. She described it, and to his horror, she was prescribed thyroid medication instead of her Xanax. So that was just one of the extreme cases, but it does happen quite often. So hopefully this would fix that in some way where you're not getting thyroid medication.
Any other questions?
Also, real quick, to elaborate on the cross-contamination part, right now they use hand counters, and from talking to pharmacists, they typically clean the hand counters every 24 to 48 hours. So we on our manuals, we recommend that the tube in the middle be cleaned as the same every 24 to 48 hours. So it doesn't need to be necessarily cleaned after every single dispense.
That figure was based off of the current commercially available pill counters that are used in pharmacies. The FDA didn't have a prescribed that we could find regulation regarding how often the machine should be cleaned, so thereby we just researched the medical dispensers that were already on the market that just do counting, only counting, and they had their machines cleaned either 24 hours, 40 hours, or every week. So we decided to go with 24 hours for reset.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question about, I think you mentioned y'all use Python as your programming language.
Yes.
So I was wondering just what was the thought process into selecting your programming language and then your graphical user interface and how it compares to maybe the competitive languages?
Because Raspberry Pi programming language of choice is Python. So basically, we need a graphical user interface too. So having these two, basically there is no other way to go, and we choose Python as a programming language. And TK GUI toolkit has already is a toolkit already pre-written for Python. So automatically, this is the right way to go.
Any other questions?
I have one. In your prototype design, I saw a breadboard, and then here I don't. Did you end up with an integrated circuit, or did you move it all just straight off the Raspberry Pi GPIO pins?
Yeah, we because we are using stepper motors now, and specifically for the stepper motors, you need some drivers to be able to run it. So we have provided, we have designed some stackable driver, and if you need to expand, since we have a projection of expanding our layers, those drivers, you can expand them up to 996.
And did you buy those, or you made those?
Oh, actually we bought those
Okay.
from other food.
Very good.
One comment that I will have for this presentation is that the whole goal of the presentation is to count the value. First thing you need to say is that if there is going to be a variety of pills, what is going to be the size of the pill, shape of the pill way too thin. That's something missing in the presentation. This is the key of your presentation. You can say that you can solve anything, but if we don't see what we're talking about and the varieties of things, that's a missing item on the presentation. But rather than that, I mean, the product, I think I saw this team coming along from, they are only showing 3 prototypes. They actually had, I don't know, massive amount. I say just show 3, you know. I don't want 27 makeups, but an amazing amount of work. Thank you.